many great presidents. Who stands out in my mind? John Kennedy. Because, well, first of all, he forced the Russians to back down during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And maybe even more importantly, it was through his leadership that America got into space.
Most effective president, Ronald Reagan. If you're talking about, good things for the country. Bad things, I think we all know the answer to that. I know Rich's favorite, Bill Clinton, did a lot for...
Way to be specific on that, Scott. Way to nail Ronald Reagan's resume.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
There's no question about it. I mean, we can argue this point, but for me, in school, and my dad and I talking over the years, it's Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He's got to be the greatest president of all time. You think about what this country was going through at that time, talking about recovering out of the Great Depression. He took care of that issue. Then he handled everything through World War II. And, when our servicemen and women going against the Imperial Japanese Army, going against the Germans, and Truman obviously was the one who dropped the bomb, but he was the guy who stood by our troops and decided, you know what, we're going to protect our borders. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, there's no question about it. No president has ever faced more adversity during a trying time coming out of the Depression. I think Franklin D. Roosevelt, it's so subjective. Everybody can argue that point. But for me personally, it's got to be Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
So I did a whole different route, being one of the only females on the second floor and not knowing much about presidents, not gonna lie. At least the first few. I went page by page and I put a star by the hottest president. So the first one who wins on this page is James Monroe. He was the 5th president of America. Who knew? And he was known for the Monroe Doctrine, which I've heard of, but I don't know what it does. Second page, James Knox Polk. Yeah, 11th president. He's known for his American policy of expansion. And he added Texas and California. So there you go. That's important. Third page. Well, this was kind of a tough one. Abraham Lincoln's on there. And not that he's hot, but I like him. Ulysses S. Grant wins this one. He was the 18th president and the great military hero of the Civil War. Congrats, Ulysses. Oh, there was none. There was none on this one. I actually literally could not pick one on this one, so we're just going to skip. And there's Flynn Foster. Speaking of presidents, Flynn, come here.
What are we doing?
This wasn't planned. Well, I was rating the hottest presidents
I don't have
of America.
the hottest president.
But he's the hottest president of Guaranteed Media.
Well, yeah, and the only. So it was an easy competition.
Look, Calvin Coolidge.
I don't have my glasses on, but
Calvin Coolidge won this one.
Oh yeah, Ronald Reagan as a youngster was very good looking.
No, I haven't got to him yet.
So you
He's
should
on
see
there.
him. He was a swimmer. He saved people swimming.
Look at that.
He was a lifeguard. Kennedy was good looking.
Kennedy and Nixon tied. Right?
Right.
And then I think Reagan's next.
Reagan's
Well, this
next.
was a pleasant surprise, having the president. Ronald Reagan, see?
Ronald Reagan. Yeah, he was a lifeguard.
We'll end with that.
And saved a lot of people as a lifeguard. And a good looking one at that. And a great president.
So are you.
A
A great president.
I'm going with Gerald Ford because he's a Michigan boy like me. He played for U of M football just like Les, and he brought a whole country together again right after the Watergate crowd.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt got us through the Great Depression and through the Great World War, and brought us into a period of prosperity afterwards. Actually, Truman did that, but he just picked up where Franklin left off.
I'd have to give it to George Washington, who really led our country through the Revolutionary War, Continental Congresses, and then was elected by everyone to be the first leader of the United States, and had so many accomplishments. Was a man's man, a general, a trooper's troop. Just to read about him, and just reading Washington's Crossing of the Delaware, very long book, but just how he led men at an early stage of our nation, and then eventually when he led through the writing with the Constitution and all those other greats that were with him that eventually became president, and that Constitution is still living, and the principles that those guys set for are still living here today, so many years later. So that's who I believe would be the most influential and effective president.
Abraham Lincoln. He divided the country, brought them back together, did everything, and his wife was probably not the nicest, most easy to get along with lady. He actually managed that too. So Abraham Lincoln, most effective president of all time, and he's on the $5 bill. So I'll take him. Effective.